Welcome to the Explainer. If you thought you knew exactly how the World Cup works, well, you might want to brace yourself. Today, we're breaking down 5 specific, genuinely crazy, and highly impactful new rules that are about to seriously shock fans at the 2026 World Cup. I mean, these are all real, they're happening right now, and they are completely designed to make this tournament unlike any other in history.
So that brings us to the big, provocative question everybody is suddenly asking. Is the World Cup turning into American football? We're honestly looking at a huge culture clash here. On one hand, you have traditional football purists who fiercely protect the uninterrupted flow of the beautiful game. But on the other hand, we're seeing the rise of this modern, heavily Americanized sporting spectacle. How these two very different worlds collide is exactly what we're going to unpack today.
All right, Section 1, Policing the Pitch, Micro-Level Changes. We're going to start with some crucial changes that will directly impact player and referee behavior the literal second the whistle blows.
Okay, let's dive right in. Rule number 1 is the mouth covering ban. Under this brand new rule, an automatic red card is issued if a player covers their mouth during a confrontation. It doesn't matter if they use a hand, an arm, or even pull their shirt up over their face. If it happens during a confrontation, it's an instant red. Now you might be wondering why the sudden strictness. Well, players have been doing this a lot lately to hide discriminatory comments from lip readers and broadcast cameras. After a really highly publicized incident in the Champions League last season, FIFA decided to just accelerate this rule to stamp that behavior out completely.
But what's really fascinating here is the incredible difficulty this puts on the referee. Think about it. Having a friendly chat with a teammate where you happen to cover your mouth, that is perfectly allowed. But do the exact same physical movement during a confrontation? Boom, red card. It's the exact same action, but an entirely different context, resulting in an entirely different outcome. So the referee now has to judge the real-time context of a player's physical actions right in the middle of a high-stakes, incredibly loud World Cup match. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want that kind of pressure.
Moving right along to our next pitch level change. Rule 4, expanded VAR powers. Yes, we are talking about everyone's quote-unquote second favorite development in modern football, the video assistant referee. Love it or absolutely hate it, VAR is getting a massive upgrade for this tournament, taking even more control over the flow of the game.
So, VAR now has 2 very distinct new abilities. First off, it can check for fouls committed before a corner kick is even taken. Say an attacker violently pushes a defender before the ball is actually in play, VAR can now step in and completely reverse the corner. Second, VAR can officially correct mistaken identity for yellow and red cards. So if the referee accidentally penalizes the wrong player during the total chaos of a moment, VAR steps in, catches it, and fixes it. Basically, these changes aim to clean up the game's accuracy, hopefully without bogging us all down in endless technicalities.
Section 2, battling the elements. Extreme summer heat. We're shifting from player behavior over to the massive structural changes forced by the sheer geography of this tournament, specifically the extreme heat of the United States summer.
Rule 2 is all about a very specific number, 23. You see, right around the 23rd minute of every single match in this World Cup, there's going to be a mandatory water break. This isn't optional, and it definitely isn't based on how the players are feeling. It is baked right into the structure of every single game to combat that extreme heat.
And each of these mandatory breaks will last exactly 3 minutes per half. Now, beyond just hydration, think about what this means strategically for a second. This officially gives managers a free 3-minute tactical timeout right in the middle of each half to gather their squad and tweak their game plan.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates where the cultural friction comes in. 4 quarters. Football purists are absolutely furious about this change. They argue that it artificially chops up the traditional, free-flowing 2-half game into what basically feels like a 4-quarter American sport. Plus, critics are pointing fingers, claiming this is really just a convenient excuse to squeeze in extra advertising breaks for broadcasters. For their part, FIFA officially denies that entirely, maintaining it as strictly a player safety measure. Regardless of who you believe, the debate is undeniably heated.
Now, speaking of the heat, let's transition to Rule 3, which is probably best described as the water bottle fiasco. This is a genuinely insane sequence of events regarding how everyday fans are supposed to stay hydrated while sitting in the stands during that exact same extreme heat we just talked about.
So, picture this. It all started when FIFA announced a strict ban on fans bringing reusable water bottles into the stadiums. They literally told fans they had to buy water inside from the official FIFA sponsor instead. Well, the backlash was immediate. Fan groups were absolutely furious, especially given the soaring summer temperatures. The outcry was so massive that it led to a rapid reversal in a matter of days. FIFA totally caved and said, okay, fans can bring in one small, sealed plastic bottle. But here's the kicker. The ban on reusable bottles was kept in place, citing safety reasons. So to recap, they banned them, reversed part of the rule because of the heat, but kept the reusable ban anyway. Talk about a chaotic few days of bureaucratic flip-flopping.
Moving into our final act, the ultimate spectacle, cultural shockwave. We're shifting our focus away from the rulebook and looking at the massive cultural shockwave that FIFA is attempting to orchestrate with this tournament.
And that brings us to Rule 5, a Super Bowl-style halftime concert. Seriously, you are reading that right. There's actually going to be a massive concert right there on the pitch during the halftime of the World Cup final, arguably the biggest, most revered match in the history of global sport.
So what's the game plan here? Well, FIFA's primary goal is to attract entirely new audiences, specifically American audiences who are totally accustomed to the massive spectacle of a Super Bowl halftime show. But, and this brilliantly illustrates the clash we talked about earlier, the traditional football purists, the exact same ones who are upset about those water breaks making the game feel like 4 quarters, are incredibly unhappy with this highly theatrical addition to their sacred final. In response to all this anger, FIFA has promised that this concert will be shorter than a normal halftime show to avoid disrupting the players' routines. We will certainly have to see how that promise holds up, right?
Go ahead and stamp this date in your minds right now, July 19th. That is the date of the historic 2026 World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Mark your calendars because this completely unprecedented halftime show is happening right in the middle of it, whether the traditionalists like it or not.
All right, wrap-up time. The game keeps evolving, 5 dramatic shifts. Over the course of just 39 days, these 5 dramatic changes, from automatic red cards for covering mouths to VAR reversing corners, mandatory mid-half timeouts, chaotic fan water bottle rules, and a full-blown halftime concert, are collectively designed to make this tournament entirely different from any World Cup that has ever come before it.
But, despite all of these massive structural, technological, and cultural shifts we just covered, I want to leave you with this really poignant, verbatim quote: "The game has not changed." It's a fascinating and honestly pretty bold statement to make after reviewing such a sweeping list of alterations to how the sport is played, refereed, and ultimately consumed.
So I want to pose a question directly to you. Has the game changed? After looking at all the evidence, the micro-level policing of the pitch, the structural changes to battle the elements, and this unprecedented push for an Americanized halftime spectacle, do you actually agree with that quote? I'll let you be the judge of that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open, stay curious, and let's see how these bizarre new rules reshape the beautiful game.